Good morning, Year 6. Welcome to week 6, officially
morning,
halfway
Year
through the
6.
term.
Over halfway through the term.
Yep, today we're officially over halfway through the term. That's a little bit scary, actually, thinking about that. Half of term 3 is already gone.
And Year 6, remember I told you we're letting go of the memes this week and we moved into jokes. I thought they were a bit funny.
Yeah, I agree. I've never seen a rabbit wearing glasses, and I've had rabbits as pets for a very long time. Must be those carrots. All right, guys. Well,
a few dad jokes, I think they are, Mr. Martin.
Oh, I've got plenty of dad jokes up my sleeve. Don't you worry. All right. To start off with today, guys, we're going to go through our literacy contract. So this week, these are the activities that you're going to be going through. So first of all, Mrs. Moore and I have added more tasks up to Study Ladder. So we'd like you guys to go through, and look at these spelling tasks on Study Ladder and try and complete at least 3 different tasks. For BTN, we have found another video about the cost of feral species in Australia. So you guys will need to watch that video there on that link. And then on our Google Classroom, underneath literacy, we've also put the BTN questions up here for you guys to answer as well. So you guys can watch that video, comprehend it, see what happens, and then answer these questions into the table here, and then hand in your work when you're done. For shared reading, what you'll need to do is that you'll need to access this article. We've also put it up on our Google Classroom for you guys, about high jumpers heal the world and other Olympic highlights. What you will need to do is that you'll need to read through the article and then just answer these questions here. You can put them straight onto your Google slides, your weekly slides. So read through the questions, answer them, and then put them onto your Google slides. Grammar and punctuation, again, more tasks have been assigned to Study Ladder for that. So see if you can complete all 4 of the activities that are assigned to you. Summarising the text. So what you'll need to do is that you'll need to go into our Google Classroom, and under our literacy tab, you guys will need to read this text here about something happening at the Olympics. So you guys need to read it and then summarize it in no less than 5 key points. So I want you guys to read through that text and summarize it with at least 5 dot points. At an absolute minimum, you guys can do more if you want to. Make sure that you guys log into Read Theory and complete at least 2 texts. A spelling task. Now, just a reminder, I know last week a lot of people did this task where they didn't put their words into sentences. So the root word that we're looking for is re. So we want you guys to first find out, what does that term re mean? And then you guys can find some examples of words that have re at the start of them, and then put them into compound or complex sentences. Make sure you put them into compound and complex sentences, because a lot of people didn't do that last week. Mini speech. So this is now our 2nd week on this topic about whether we should have Chromebooks or books, which one is better. So what you guys need to do is that you need to make sure that you've written your speech, you have recorded it here on that Flipgrid, and that you've also gone onto that slide there, accessing your mini speech doc, and do that reflection part about what you think you guys did really well this week and what is something you might be able to enhance and make better for next time we do one of those mini speeches. Dogo News. We have put a new Dogo News up there, so go through, read the text, and then answer the comprehension questions. It's underneath our literacy tab as well. And the final 2 parts, guided reading. So after, like last week, you've had a guiding reading session with Mrs. Moore, myself, and Mrs. Milgate. You guys can answer this do this task here. We want you guys to create a bit of a flow chart about how the Earth became oxygenated. And just as a bit of an example, you guys can draw it, and you might put it in something, and it might look something like this, about how the Earth became oxygenated using a flow chart, going from one point to the next. And then every day, see if you guys can also continue to practice your voice of your speeches.
Mr. Martin, just a reminder to the kids as well that that is just an image, so you won't be able to write on that flow chart that Mr. Martin has put in there. So you can create your own, or you can draw your own and upload it, but you can't write in that one. So it is just an image. Yeah,
good point, Mrs. Moore. Thanks for clarifying that as well. And just a reminder, guys, 2 literacy contract tasks per day. Thank you very much. Not 1
Do you know what, Mr. Martin? I was talking to some of my kids last week, and we talked about if you're doing a literacy, when you're doing your guided reading sessions with us, I don't mind if they just do one activity for that day, because that's what would normally happen in the classroom. You read with your teacher and then you do one activity. So same thing goes when we're online as well.
I agree with that 100%. 100%.
All right, let's move into our shared reading today. So Mr. Martin has already showed you what our shared reading is. Today we're really looking at the layout of the text. So if you can have a look, to start with, the layout of our text, our heading. So have a look at that heading: high jumpers heal the world and other Olympic highlights. So the heading of my actual text is high jumpers heal the world. Well, can high jumpers really heal the world? What's the reasoning behind that? They're trying to capture your attention. They're trying to make you read it. Well, how do they heal the world? What's the healing process that's happening in there? So we want you to realize that in a news article, the heading really tries to draw the reader in. They want you to join, like click on that link. They want you to read their article. So we just wanted you to identify that, only because we're looking at these type of things, because in your writing, you're going to be writing a news article. So think about your heading. Think about this heading compared to the text, and what are they talking about?
Miss Moore, I'm just going to add, like, usually a heading, like as I'm reading through that there, high jumpers heal the world. I call that a bit of hyperbole. I think it's a bit of an over exaggeration.
It is.
They haven't exactly done, and they're not exactly healing the world like physically, but they're making exaggeration. They're making the world feel better about themselves. And that's often what we have when we have a news article. Like Mrs. Moore said, they're trying to hook us in straight away. So they might use like different techniques to try and get us engaged straight away. So that over exaggeration of heal the world, people go, well, how do they heal the world? That's going to be interesting. And then it's going to start them to read this text.
The hook-in really isn't in the introduction of a news article. The hook-in is in our title this time.
Definitely.
So as we're looking through, we want you to think about what's the layout, what's happening in this text. And straight away, you could see an image with captions underneath. So we've got an image and they've explained to us what that image is about. And that happens throughout the whole text. The other thing we want you to identify is, if you have a look, we always talk to you about, you have to write in paragraphs. The paragraph is 3 to 4 sentences. If you have a look at this text, they're not really writing in paragraphs. They're more writing in sections. And so that same idea of a news article doesn't follow those same protocols or the hamburger method, just like every other text does. So we're really looking at how a news article is just a little bit different to a normal informative text or a story that would normally read. Mr. Martin, what was the other, can you go back to the slide? Yeah. So we looked at over exaggeration, the images, and it's written in paragraphs. So now the question to you is, do you believe the layout is easy to follow? So as you're reading that text, did you find it easy to follow as you were reading it? Did those images help you? Did the little captions underneath the images support what they were saying in the text? Did those short sections rather than paragraphs, was that easier for you to read and easier for you to understand? So we want you to really think about those type of questions, and then why or why not? So was it easier to read shorter paragraphs because I don't get bogged down in too much writing? Or was it easier having an image there to support what the people look like and I could see their feelings? So all of those type of things, that's what we want you to be thinking about there. And answering on the next slide. I think there was one more question, Mr. Martin. Is there anything you would change about the text? Why or why not? So would you have rather than put more information in about something, or would you have rathered less images or more images? Is there something that you would like to change about the text?
Yep, and that'll, oh, sorry, Mr. Moore.
I was going to say, and then all those things need to be done on that next slide.
Yep.
Do you know what, Mr. Martin? After this video, I might copy and paste those questions onto this slide for the kids so they can see it. I'll do that once we're finished.
That's going to bring us into writing now. So like Mrs. Moore said, Year 6, we're going to be doing a new writing topic for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking at creating news articles. So today, what we're going to be doing is that you guys are going to be having a little bit of free choice about what you're going to want to write a newspaper article about. So we've given you some ideas here. Now, you do not have to use these. If you've got your own idea that you'd like to talk about, you can absolutely go for it as long as it's appropriate. But we've just given you some ideas in case you're a little bit stuck. So we've maybe given the suggestion of Aussies competing at the Olympics, Sydney's lockdown, community sport being cancelled, changes in the NRL, your time at St Mary MacKillop, remote learning, or anything else that you want to suggest. So what you're going to need to do over the next couple of days, we're going to give you guys 2 days to complete this part here, is that we want you guys to do a little bit of research. We want you guys to find information about the topic that you're going to be writing your news article on. We want you guys to maybe find some quotes from the people that were involved in the events. We want you guys to think about what type of subheadings are you going to use. And the way you're going to do that is that, like we said, you're going to be using this doc here. So this will take you straight to our Google Classroom. And what it'll actually show you is that we've actually created an individual doc like we did for our Voice of You speeches. We want you guys to put all of your work directly into this doc, like we did for our Voice of You speech, and you can hand in that doc to Mrs. Moore and I each day. So any research that you do, any quotes that you find, put them straight into this doc here, hand it into Mrs. Moore and I each day so we can see what you've done, like we did for our Voice of You speech.
And Mr. Martin, have a look, like, as you're writing it, get some ideas from our shared reading text. So look back at that shared reading text and think, what have they done? What could I do as well? So use this one as a bit of a guide. And we wrote down in the slide as well that when you're getting a quote from someone, if you're doing something about yourself or your family, a quote can be something from your mum or dad, or from a brother or sister, or from anyone in the family. Quotes don't have to come from famous people. It could come from, it can't be from yourself because you're the one writing it, but it could come from someone else, like a sibling or an auntie or an uncle or something like that. So don't feel like you have to get quotes from certain people. So maybe if you're doing sports being cancelled, maybe you could get someone feedback from a brother or sister or from your mum and dad about how they feel about it. It's not necessarily about getting a famous person to quote of what's happening. It depends on what your topic is. And again, Mr. Martin and I realize that this is going to be a topic that you're going to need a lot of support in. So please message us, please email us, and we are more than happy to support you in any way. Or make sure you turn in your work so that Mr. Martin and I can give you feedback each day and what you need to do next.
Yeah, and like Mrs. Moore said, I think probably the most important thing they can do is they want to see a really good example. Use that example of the Olympic high jumpers, because that is I think it's a really well set out article. I think they've used really good quotes. They've used images really effectively. They've used the right amount of writing to describe what the events are happening. I think they've done a really good job. So that should be a really good example for you guys to use if you're a little bit stuck.
Now, again, this activity goes over today and tomorrow. So you have Monday and Tuesday to get this, the planning stage done. So don't feel like you have to get this all done today, but a good start would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's move into maths. So maths, we're looking at capacity. And so we're looking at, so last week we're looking at volume, and this week you're looking at capacity. Now, before you do anything, you need to watch that video. Mr. Martin has made a video. So you need to make sure you watch that. And you are going to be converting. So on the next page, you're going to be converting between milliliters and liters. And you need to write directly into this table. So you're going to fill in, so 0.252 liters, how many milliliters is that? Now, you're not going to know that until you watch the video. So make sure you watch that video and you will be able to get that task completed.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, sorry, Mrs. Moore. These hot tips here, just remember that 1 litre contains 1,000 milliliters. That's going to be really important for you guys to remember. And I've done some examples down here for you guys to have a look at. If you're a little bit stuck, have a look and see what I've done there to try and help convert between milliliters and litres and between litres and milliliters. That should help you guys out as well. But like Mrs. Moore said, if you do get stuck, watch that video first of all. It will explain everything you need to know. Then you can always send us a message or post on our Google Classroom. We'll be able to help you guys out a little bit more.
Once you get the hang of it, You'll be good to go.
Pretty easy after you get the hang of it.
That's right.
That'll take us into history.
So for history, we're kind of building on from what we did last week. So last week we looked at human rights and how the world has changed in our opinion of certain races and people and genders. Today we're going to be looking at Aboriginal rights and how that has changed in our Australian history. So we want you to watch this video. It's a bit of a jingle. It's something that was played on our TVs in 1967. So we want you to watch the video and we want you to think about, what do you think the 1967 referendum was about? It's your opinion. What do you think it was about? After watching this video, the video, what do you think it's about? And then why was it so important for Australia as a nation for this referendum to happen? So a referendum is a vote. So the Australian public went to a vote, but we want you to tell us, what was that vote about and why was that vote so important? On the next slide, we have those questions written for you to answer directly into this slide.
What's really important is a referendum is actually when the people, so every single person in Australia has the right to vote on something that actually changes the laws of the country. Rather than when we just vote for a new prime minister or something, a referendum, it gives the people the power to choose whether something is changed in our constitution, which means the laws that we all live by and the laws of Australia. This gave the people of Australia the right to vote whether they thought something should be changed or not.
And often these referendums come because of people power saying, we want this change, we want this change. The government doesn't normally come up with these ideas themselves. It normally comes from the people to start with.
Yeah, definitely does.
All right, year 6, that is a lot of information we've given you today. You might need to do a lot of stop starting in our video today. It is Monday, so there is a lot more information given. So we hope you have a great day. Join our 9:30 Zoom meetings and we can talk through any of this information that you might need. We might talk about our writing a little bit more in our Zoom meetings next week, but we're there. We're happy to help as much as we can.
Definitely. And then we'll see you guys at those Zoom meetings, or we'll see you guys in our guided reading sessions as well.
I'm enjoying those guided reading sessions, Mr. Martin.
So am I. I think they're really good, really beneficial.
All right. Have a great day, year 6.
Thank you, 6. See you later.